Spiky bits.
Okay, so here's a close-up at the actual assembled kit. As you can see here, it's pretty well detailed. Once you start taking a look at it, it's very very posable, very intricate kit. It's pivots at the waist here, all the way around the axis here. I did not glue down the shoulder pads because I wanted a chance to paint them, and it's also very hard to take the arms off if you actually glue them down, which I'll show you here in a second. So it's a very very detailed kit. I'm not going to get that back on. Oh, there we go. Okay. And we're just going to keep those off for right now. So what I wanted to show you was, if you turn it, you can see this actual some of the intricate detail here. Like you can see the piston. There's actually room for the piston in there in the elbow socket, and then you can turn it. Of course, it's very fully posable, and if you turn it far enough, it actually comes right out. It's got a socket system here, so you can change out the arms. Like I said, it's very very hard to do if you have this actually on here. You can't really get in there quite as well. So I just kept them off. Plus, if I'm gonna paint them, it's not gonna be something I really want to mess around with right now. If I'm gonna paint that separately, so I'm gonna need that loose. So let's put that back on, and I'll show you the other one here, where we got the chain sword. So that obviously is very articulated, moves up and down, and then of course you got the little piston in the back of that, you know, depending on how far up and down you go. Now this here too, depending on how you glue it, let me take that off. That was something I didn't want to show you yet, but you can also have the piston, have the gun so it moves if you don't glue the pistons down. It's not 100%, it's about a 45, I guess. Your good 45 arc right there. So very neat kit. Lots of moving. This stubber actually also moves depending on how you do it. You just have to be very careful when you're assembling this stuff because the little bits themselves are fiddly. The head is supposed to also move. It was very difficult for me to glue this together and get it to work properly. I think their tolerances are so tight on these things that a lot of the stuff that should work in actuality isn't going to work. Mostly the head. It's supposed to be way more movable. It's very difficult to do, so I opted to not do that. I also tack welded the little faceplate in here because I wasn't sure which one I wanted to go with, but that was the one that made it look less like a War Machine jack, to be honest. So I used that one. Plus, if it's going to be an Iron Warriors Paladin, I wanted to use that. Now, the other cool thing about it is this piece actually comes off as well, like I was saying. You just get it around the smokestacks there, and revealing the interior. Oh, and you see that little bar over the ball joint? I actually glued that on there so I wouldn't have to glue it down into one spot. That I actually saw that in the White Dwarf, and it's a very good tip. So take you a piece of sprue when you're assembling this thing, and just glue it right on top where the nub comes through, as you can kind of see right there where the light's hitting it. And then that way, you know, you don't have to worry about posing it right yet. And I mean, honestly, it stays together. You may also want to consider using plastic glue if you're not 100% confident or familiar with it. You definitely want to consider it for this project, because this is it's a very super serious project, and I'm not sure how it would turn out with regular super glue. So this gun here, there's actually two variants, of course, the Knight Errant and the Knight Paladin. And I didn't glue, you're supposed to pick which one and then you glue all the stuff onto it, but I actually didn't do that because I kind of saw a way to magnetize it. This actually, the tolerances are so nice that boom, you've got your, let me adjust this real quick. You've got your battle cannon there, right? So then if you pop that off, you can get the Nova cannon, I believe it's called. This plate pops right on. It's not as secure as the, yeah, it's not quite as secure. It doesn't really stick on there as well, but you can definitely find a way to magnetize it. Now, the other thing that kind of is neat too is you can take the side ammo hopper here and feed for the for the battle cannon there and just kind of pop it on. Find a way to magnetize it, of course, which I wasn't going to get into yet because I was very eager to get this video done. And then the multi-melta fuel canisters as well. So it's easily magnetizable. There's this piece that you're supposed to put in here for the multi-melta to have an extra like power source kind of thing instead of the rear injection port for the cannon shells. You kind of can't magnetize that, and there's also the heavy stubber bit, that ammo bit that goes over here on the inside that I didn't really do either, but I suppose you could. Now there's also this tabard, and let me get him formed back up, and we'll do a zoom out and kind of show you some more stuff. Okay, so I got him put back together here. Like I said, I left the pads off just for painting and things like that, and you can kind of get a better idea how the legs look. Like I said, they only go together one particular way, which is one backwards, one forward. But with little work, you can fix that. So just to give you a quick 360 here, all these little wires and things like that go on separately, and it's very tedious, but it all goes together pretty well. And there's little pistons and rods and things like that all up underneath there. And if you look here, all these little eagles get glued on separately for this kit as well. So it kind of gives you an idea of how much craziness goes into it. I really like the fact that you can take the top armor plate off as well. Then you've got the little tabard, the heraldry tabard that goes on the front, of course. I wasn't too thrilled about that one. I think it's just supposed to like go up in here and just get glued on, but I really saw it breaking off, so I didn't glue it on. I think maybe I'll do something with like a real chain or something like that in the future. I guess you could glue it up against this front armor plate as well if you really wanted to. But again, I'm going to be customizing this thing, so I didn't want to quite do it yet. But there's lots of possibilities for customization and things here, so that's definitely a good thing. These plates, these armor plates are all separate. These three right here, they glue on separately, and the toes, the toe of the foot, it's all a normal piece, just very similar to the way the Space Marine Dreadnought is. So that's pretty much the kit. So now you're probably wondering, well, how big is it? Well, let's take a look. First off, we've got this little guy. Oh, look at that. He's bigger than a Dreadnought. And you can also tell from this just how big the base really is too. Well, I guess you can't see it there. But right there, you can kind of tell how much bigger that oval base is than the standard one. So there's a Dreadnought right next to it. So it comes up roughly, I guess, kind of to his chest. That's kind of funny. Here is the Storm Talon Walker, or Stormhound Assault Walker, that I made a couple summers ago. You might remember this guy. This is roughly about the same size when you put them right next to each other, which I thought was kind of neat. Not that I would actually use it as that. The base is definitely a little small, and the structure of the model itself definitely is small as well. Then we've got, I guess, the next biggest kit out there currently, and that would be the Eldar Wraith Knight, which I have right here. And it just fell apart on me, so bear with me a second. Okay, so here's the Wraith Knight. We're just going to pop him in there, right in the back of everybody. So the Wraith Knight definitely towers over him. It only comes up to about the chest on the Wraith Knight, which was kind of to be expected, I suppose. There you can kind of see it a little bit better. So the Trigon comes up to, I guess, roughly about right here when you put them next to each other. So I hadn't seen any pictures with the Wraith Knight yet, but there you go. It's roughly that big. So pretty cool. It's a great kit. Obviously the price tag is pretty hefty. You can also get about the same thing, the same size for the 15mm scale one from Dreamforge Games. The Leviathan Crusader, I believe it's called, for about $50. It doesn't come with these particular weapons though. It comes with some alternate weapons, so I'm not sure if they're available in that scale. But you know, for what you get, I think it's a very articulated, very groundbreaking model for Games Workshop. And I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot of those on the tabletop here as soon as the book comes out next week. So that's it for this one, guys. I'm MBG Rob Bear. Make sure you stay in the trenches, subscribe to this YouTube channel, check out the blog, spikybitsblog.com, and listen to our podcast, forgenarrative.com. Spiky bits.